was just updating the rankings on the website. So let's go talk about it. It is June the 7th, 2018, 5:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So when the story broke, I'm not going to lie, I was asleep. I would say the story broke around the end of the Lawrence Okali Luke Watkins fight. I was watching that. It was a Sky Sports card, and I was in bed. I was asleep by like 7 p.m. or something like that. So we up early. Golovkin has been stripped of his IBF title. Let's do a little bit of reading Rainbow here. The International Boxing Federation, IBF, have stripped Gennady Golovkin of his middleweight title after he failed to set up a mandatory defense against Ukrainian Sergey Derevyachenko. Golovkin was scheduled for a rematch against his WBC mandatory challenger Saul Canelo Alvarez on May the 5th, but the Mexican withdrew from the fight after being suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission in April. Golovkin, who held the IBF, blah, 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 blah. This is what they're saying. After a lengthy review and period of deliberation, the IBF has vacated the IBF middleweight title held by Golovkin, the IBF statement said on Wednesday. The IBF had to enforce the penalty under Rule 5H for Golovkin having participated in an unsanctioned contest within his weight class and declared the IBF middleweight title vacant. So basically, let me read this last part. The IBF will identify two leading available contenders and order them to negotiate for the vacant title. So basically, he wasn't supposed to fight Venice Martirosyan. He was supposed to go ahead and fight Sergey Derevchenko. Or he was supposed to have, I guess they gave him some type of leeway. The reason why this ruling is a month after he fought Venice Martirosyan, which was on May the 5th. I'm guessing they was like, okay, well, at least, set something up to fight Derevchenko in September. And we already know he's trying to get that Canelo fight. So since then, and it's only been, about 12 hours or something like that, news has also come out that Golovkin is stepping away from his 50-50 demands. So, he now, he lost that belt, and also I guess they had notice of it likely before the media did. So they already knew it was coming. So they was like, well, shit, let's get this Canelo fight. Fuck that belt. Let's say 40%, because my understanding, and I've been doing some real digging and, chatting with some people and things like that. Everybody's coming up with their different, theories, and what it's looking like is that Golden Boy is willing to give Golovkin some more money, but nowhere near 50-50. Somebody, I know, said 40% or so. And I think people are cool with 60-40. The original offer that was put out there was, 65-35, and it's understandable. Canelo is the A side, and in this generation of boxing, if you're the B side and you're the known B side, you're not going to get no 50-50. It's not happening. They're going to come up with all type of statistics and numbers on why you shouldn't get 50-50. And those numbers don't work in Golovkin's favor. But however, as I said in previous videos, is that I do feel he deserves a raise. Hold on, I got to go check something real quick. I do feel that he does deserve a pay increase, because it's not his fault that the May 5th fight didn't go through. I'm doing double duty here. I'm actually up early because I want to watch this press conference. So, yeah, we're going to be doing that in a minute. We're going to pull this over here. Oh, all right, it ain't start yet. All right, so we got some more time. Anyway, this is Sergey Derevchenko. So, when you have 3 belts, a lot comes with that. And rematch clauses don't. This is way too bright for this early in the morning. Let me put this over here. The rematches clauses don't have nothing to do with the titles. And even though it looks bad, I'm happy the IBF did this, because the IBF, as I've said for many years now, is known to be one of the most, stringent. They follow their rules. They don't care who you are. They will strip you. They will strip you. The IBF does not mess around. as you can see here, he is a Lou DiBella fighter. DiBella's been pushing for this and saying, okay, all right, we allowed for the Canelo fight, to happen once. And then, they had the rematch all set to go. But then it's going to be a whole year and a half. I mean, a whole year by the time the next, September comes around before he defends his title against my fighter. So from a promotional end, Lou DiBella knew what he was doing when he started petitioning. And it's the right thing to do. You got a year to defend your title. They don't care. They shouldn't care about, well, this fight brings in more money. Of course, the IBF is going to lose money. They could have got another sanctioning fee, for this fight, a big sanctioning fee compared to the small. It's the biggest, technically, unless it's Anthony Joshua. What other big sanctioning fees can they get? But, they followed the rules. We've seen, organizations, even though they got better over the years, like the WBC, especially the WBA, and the WBO follow the money. It's like, we don't care about all rules. We'll make an interim title, all that shit. We don't care. We go on with the money. So, I support their decision. But now it's like, what is Golovkin going to do? How does this look for Billy Joe Saunders now that Golovkin is saying, okay, all right, we're going to take less than 50%. How less is that? I was saying earlier this week that the fight wasn't dead. There's no way it can be dead when the two teams acknowledge every week, especially the promoter of Golovkin, Tom Loeffler. He acknowledges every week that we're still talking every day. Oscar is saying whatever he wants in the media, saying, no, that's it. It's dead. We're moving on. We've reached out to Billy Joe Saunders. We've reached out to Danny Jacobs. So you got Billy Joe Saunders, who recently pulled out of a fight. People are speculating that he's not really injured for pulling out of that fight, but that, he's got some type of talks from Golden Boy, right? But then Oscar De La Hoya pulls another move and say, well, we've reached out to Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs has been quiet. Eddie Hearn has been quiet about it. And now you got Golovkin saying, oh, shit, technically the Golden Boy strategy worked. But I don't think nobody realistically thought that Golovkin was going to say, okay, we want 50-50 now. And Canelo and his team was going to say, all right, yeah, let's give him 50-50. They would have rather fight somebody else than to give him 50-50 in a fight where Golovkin is a bigger fight than Danny Jacobs and Billy Joe Saunders. So, therefore, they would be losing money themselves than to give him 50-50. That's how boxing works. If Mayweather would have rather not have had Mayweather versus Pacquiao than to give Pacquiao 50-50. That's how serious that shit is in boxing. If Conor McGregor said, and as you know, if you don't know, Floyd Mayweather made something like $275 million. According to Forbes, he's likely, if they say 275, he's likely made like more than that from like all kind of other shit. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is if Conor McGregor would have said 50-50, they would have said no deal. They would have left all that money on the table. That shit is serious. The shit is serious. But anyway, I got to get to this Dylan White press conference. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing is going to play out, especially since Canelo has entered training camp, especially since this fight is supposed to take place. HBO pay-per-view. Let me go look at the September calendar. September the 15th. That's usually the date. HBO pay-per-view, September the 15th. Damn sure likely in the T-Mobile Arena. Because as time goes on, they can't secure no bigger venue. They got to go with what they know. So we'll see. I mean, there's really, it makes, I guess I'm going to say this, right? I don't even know why I almost forgot to mention it, but it makes like the rematch, even though it's a lot of tension in it, and Golden Boy has been upset with mostly Abel Sanchez and all the shit talking he's been doing. And then Golovkin's been doing shit talking, but it's mostly been Abel Sanchez and the accusation of Canelo with the, being on the performance enhancing drugs. And even if I'm not talking about that, God damn it, I almost got attacked, man. Can't wait till I get rid of these motherfuckers. But anyway, even though I haven't talked about it in detail in this video, you have to think this is like the third or fourth time this week I'm talking about it. But of course, Golovkin and his team are upset that they didn't get to fight him on May the 5th. And now he has lost the belt technically because of it, because they wasn't planning on having to fight Canelo in September unless they worked out something for a third fight. But by that point in time, we expected for it to be over for both fighters. Like by September of 2018, we didn't expect to see Golovkin or Canelo fighting each other again, unless they took an interim fight before it, which would have been Golovkin's mandatory. So say, for example, if they chose to do what fans didn't want them to do but would have accepted because we're getting it anyway, if they should choose to take interim fights. So, for example, after Canelo versus Golovkin 1 that happened in September, that Golovkin went on to fulfill his IBF mandatory and fought Derevchenko, and then went on to fight, Canelo, and Canelo fought somebody else like a Danny Jacobs, or like they wanted a David Lemieux or Billy Joe Saunders, and they both met up in September, but it was too much money to risk because both of these fighters, either Canelo or Golovkin, could have lost in that interim fight. So, the whole situation is complex, but it's really like when you've been covering it so long and following all this shit where you got the opposing sides, because of course you're going to have Golovkin naysayers, and he's got a lot of them that are going to say, oh, well, yeah, he ain't ever make no money, and he thinks he's this is that. People just don't like him. And then you got the Canelo naysayers saying, well, he failed the drug test, and he wasn't going to give up those hair follicles or whatever, man. I just want to see the fight. So I was thinking I wasn't going to do no more videos on this for like a while until another fight was announced. But then Golovkin goes and gets stripped of his IBF title, and now the belts are getting broken up. We were just really one fight away from there being an undisputed champion. Now we're two more. No telling what Lou DiBella is going to do if Derevchenko gets his hands on that title. And then the IBF is talking about making Danny Jacobs or Jamal Charlo fight Derevchenko. And especially that Jamal Charlo fight can happen. I mean, both the Danny Jacobs, the Derevchenko, and the Jamal Charlo fight can happen, but who's going to take it first and who's going to go after it? And then there's going to be a lot of fighters that are not going to want to fight Derevchenko, so they're probably going to try to maneuver out of that. So it's going to be some interesting shakeups in the 160-pound division very soon, and you have to look at guys like Demetrius Andrade and see, like, what the hell are you doing? Because he was supposed to fight Derevchenko. And there was negotiations 2 times around. The first time, I understood. He didn't want to fight Derevchenko just a few months after fighting Alantez Fox. I kind of understood that, even though Billy Joe Saunders fought Willie Monroe and then went on to fight David Lemieux. But still. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.